Today I want to talk about an amazing tool which many people are not aware of that it exists. In previous days in Maya it was called the Trax Editor, now it's the Time Editor. It's an amazing window where you can do interesting tasks. In order to get started with it, we need motion capture examples. And I found a flaw in Maya 2018 because the assets don't show up. It looks like this. You go to Windows and General Editors, and here you have the Content Browser. And in the Content Browser you have examples for animation, motion capture, and the folder is empty. So it took me a while to find out what I need to do in order to fill it. You should, for a start, remember or copy the file path where the examples are. They are usually under program files, and in the Mac it's different. Autodesk Maya 2018 examples, animation, and then motion capture. So how do we get the examples? That's pretty easy once you know how to find them. You go to animation here, or rigging. Let's go to rigging, skeleton, because it's all about skeletons. And here the very bottom entry is human IK. It opens like this, and down here you have get human IK and mocap examples online. So you need to be online. If you click this link, I did this before already, a file will download onto your computer. You have to unzip it, and then you throw the contents into that motion capture folder which I just showed you, and then it would look like this. You will see these are mesh examples, quite interesting. You might check them out, really. Mash, that is M-A-S-H, and you get the examples here: animation, motion capture, and here they are. They are the lovely little files I was looking for. Now they're here. Let's with an empty scene, let's just drag the walk number 1 into the scene. Jason arrived here. We see basically two files. Actually, there's more files underneath here. But one is the skin and one is the reference, or one is the, so to say, kinematic object. Now just press play. Have you seen something? Yeah, I have. Yeah. The models always come very, very tall, very big. So this is a nice walk. And watch out what he does with his hands now. He claps the hands twice. And the walk stops somewhere. It's an animation which goes to 317 frames. Let's briefly analyze this thing. If you pick Jason skin, it's called skin, you see no animation here whatsoever. So the animation sits in here. But even if you pick this Jason reference, you don't see any animation frames here. How about one step lower in the hierarchy? Here are the animation dots. Every frame is an animation keyframe, and the reason for that is that it was a motion capture enterprise, and the figure, the character, has an exact position for all bones and limbs and joints at every frame. We could delete some frames, but it would certainly affect the animation, the walk cycle, in a negative way. See how the head, for example, moves. It's very natural because it was an actual person performing that. So the animation is here, and we need to know that in order to handle the time editor. That's where I'm getting to. Now let me give this creature another color. if you pick the skin, it's not really the shape where you find the shader on. Right mouse click and show the shapes. It's down here. And here you see the shader which is currently sitting on the skin of the character. It's currently gray, and we will just use a ramp in order to make it a little bit more interesting. And we choose a U ramp, so it goes like this. Looks a little bit odd, but it looks more interesting than before. Like this, maybe blue, since it's a chap. Okay. If you get into texture mapping, it's right here, UV mapping. This will look quite interesting. I don't care right now. So let me close this again. Don't need the shapes anymore now. So the walk cycle is this. And now we will do something which is typical and which we will reverse later. So under Windows and animation editors, you have the time editor. This is one way to get to the time editor, like here. Let me close it again, because the other way is here in the workspace where I have my classic. If I go to animation, I have the time editor down here already. Actually, it's the graph editor. The time editor is here. They're sisters and brothers, so to say. And Jason is walking here, and I can use the time slider to play through the animation. One thing which I find irritating, and I have always found irritating with Maya, is the space bar, because usually in most applications which have to do with animation or sound, the space bar starts and stops the animation or the playing of the sound. But here, of course, the space bar is occupied by other things, like changing from one window to another. So we actually need to skim through the process or use the animation. There's probably a shortcut as well. Now we don't see anything here in the time editor. And the reason is that we need to import content from external files, a file we've downloaded, an FBX for example, or we add selected content from the scene. That's what we currently have. We should select this thing, or maybe this, with all the animation dots here, and then make a click here, add selected content from the scene. So the clip has been created, and the time editor now drives the animation. The interesting thing is, if you go here, this is still selected, the little red markers for the keyframes are gone, and these things here were red. Red is the sign for ordinary keyframes, and now it's orange color because it's ruled by the animation editor, the time editor here in this case. You can see the keyframes if you open this section. They're all still here, and in the outliner you find them as well. They're here in the composition number 1. It's called composition number 1. It's the default composition which is been created when the creature is there. The basic idea behind the time editor is that you can rearrange clips and animations like in an ordinary video editing program like After Effects or Premiere or Final Cut Pro X. So this is just a clip here, and I can make the clip shorter. What happens? Let's play the animation. And he just stops here. I can widen it again, and with this selected I choose this icon here, split clip at current time. Now it's split like in an ordinary video editing software. Nothing happens here at this point because it's still connected sort of, but now we have this thing. We can also move one into another, and this in some cases it does work. In most cases it needs fine-tuning, obviously. So he's sliding forward now because we all of a sudden want an extra movement here. I could do it like this. What happens now? Now he hesitates a little bit here because I gave him enough animation food in the first clip, etc. What you can do here as well, let me delete this second clip. It's non-destructive, so you can do anything here and nothing will be deleted really. We could say, for example, we want a section to be repeated. Like this, maybe. It certainly doesn't work properly, but this is the repetition icon, loop mode it's called. So create loops of the clip animation at the start and end of the clip. So I click here, and now when I drag it open, a white thing will spread out, and it will just repeat the animation as it was here. He moves on, so it's additive, but he makes the same walk. Look at the hands, it's basically the same. It's a loop, like in music production. So this is what the time editor is good for. You can import other animation clips and mix them together. But now I want to show you something which is not trivial but very typical as well for the time editor, what the time editor can achieve. I want the original animation to okay. Okay. Now let's go back with the key Z to the very beginning of the clip, how it was in the first place, like this. What I want to do now is have him clap more times than he actually does. At around frame 190, he claps the first time and then the second time. 2 times here, double clap. He doesn't have finger bones. It's a very simple skeleton really, but it does a nice job for tack tack, for the walk and the clap. I want him to clap the hands earlier, for example, and this is something you can achieve in several ways. I will show you one way now. So I undo several steps until I have the keyframes here of JSON and nothing is imported into the time editor. The time editor is empty now and the keyframes are with our skeleton as they were when I started the whole project. Now I need to create 2 clips now. One clip is for the walk and one clip is for the hands. And in order to do that, I need to look at the hierarchy, what kind of joints participate in the walk and what kind of joints participate in the hand clapping. So we need to open this section now, and if you open it with the Shift key, you open the whole hierarchy. So that's all the joints of our skeleton now. And I marked the lower section already. This is the part of the skeleton which has to do with the elbow, the hand. It starts with the left clavicle, the right clavicle, the right shoulder, elbow, right hand end, and it includes both parts of the body. So to say, the shoulders and the arms and the hands. With these selected, I don't use this option now because it will import the whole skeleton regardless of what I selected here. But I want this specific selection for the arm movement as one clip. And I achieve this by going to File, Add Animation from the Scene Selection, and then I open the option box. And the option box has a section called Attributes to be added. We don't want the entire hierarchy to be added. No, not at all. And we don't want the complete human IK rig to be added. So let's uncheck this as well. Apply and close. So now we have a clip here. And before we lose our selection, let's select the rest of the whole thing. So head end until the very top, which is the hips. The hips in most cases are the central bone in IK skeletons. So now we do the same thing. Add animation from scene selection. Just let's check if the box is still okay. Yeah, the checkboxes are still okay. We don't want to include the entire hierarchy. If we would, it would import those as well. If the time editor finds any animation keyframes there anymore. And we don't want the complete IK rig, so we apply and close. So we have 2 clips now. And the interesting thing here, and this is not manageable without the Trax Editor in previous times and now the time editor, we can mute the channels and nothing happens. We can mute just the lowest channel and we will only see the hand movements with the clapping. That's what we're interested in, actually. That's what we were going for. And if we unmute the second clip here, we have only the walk and the hand is sort of sitting there somewhere. Okay? Both together give us the full animation. Now what we'll do, and very simply, you can refine this of course, just for the purpose of this tutorial I'll make it very quick. So the top one is our hand clap, our hand thing. And where does he start to clap? Just about here. So I split the clip now and see where the clapping ends. 1, 2, and then the arms go back here. So I set another separation spot here, point here. So this is our hand clapping. Now we can copy this, Control C, and for example split the animation here, move this a little bit to the side, and bring with Control V, bring our hand clap up here. So it's like in a video editing software. So let's see how it works. We just skim through here, tack, tack, tack. And here, of course, his arm jumps, but he claps here already. And then he goes back into the normal section. Here he claps again. And I can prolong this, the clapping, for example, by using this icon here. Wait a minute. Change the playback speed, for example, make it slower. So let's play this section here. Much slower in the arms, but he still walks in the same pace as before. Here, of course, we can adjust a blend, for example. So it is more easy and easing in and out, and here the same. So I have a hand clap now at the beginning of the animation, clap, clap, and then continues, and then I have a longer clap, clap, and he still walks all right. So this is basically all I wanted to show you. It's not manageable with the ordinary graph editor or key editing tools. You need the time editor in order to perform this, and it's actually very easy. The only major thing to consider is to select the proper hierarchy here in this section to import the proper clips. You can import, of course, just a head clip to make the animation, to separate the head animation from the rest. Thank you for watching.